This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
It's a hot night in Waco, burning with anticipation. Baylor flaunts Robert Griffin III, one of the most dynamic playmakers. Tonight he faces the defensive mastery of TCU's Gary Patterson. The undefeated Rose Bowl champs aren't looking back at recent glory. It's a new season for the Frogs, filled with high expectations, starting right now. Welcome to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Russell Athletic, part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week. Tonight, from Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco, Texas, the Rose Bowl champs, the TCU Horned Frogs. They meet a Baylor team coming off their first bowl season in 16 years. Good evening, everybody. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore, and we will visit with Samantha Steele in a moment as we welcome everyone back to the Friday night primetime game. We've got an upgraded schedule. You're going to see the Big 12, the Pac-12, teams like TCU and Boise, and we start with these Rose Bowl champs. And all week long, Rod, we've talked about this. Are they a winning team, or now are they a winning program?
Well, I know we think they're a program. We've seen them practice, and they're very talented, but that's not a game. That's practice. And they lost an awful lot from last season. 5 NFL draft picks, 8 guys who were also good enough to be invited to NFL camps, and the biggest loss, Andy Dalton. And we're talking about probably the greatest quarterback in TCU history. Great Rose Bowl game for him, and he was lights out. So guess who has to step in for him? Casey Paul Hall. Now, Casey hasn't played an awful lot. He's only a redshirt sophomore, but guess what? He is a talented guy, strong arm, probably a better runner than Andy Dalton, but he can't run the entire offense. They told us that. They're only going to run about 65 or 70% of what Andy Dalton could do.
So he's a better athlete than Andy Dalton, but the best athlete playing quarterback in college football plays for Baylor.
Yeah, you know, Michael Vick won't like it, but this guy, greatest athlete playing quarterback in football in the country. This guy is a phenomenal track athlete. Yeah, 400 meters, 400 high hurdles, but in addition to that, he is all quarterback when it comes to football season. I love the way he stays in the pocket and delivers the football, but when he gets to the edge, he is a problem because of his speed, and he runs his spread option attack and does it very, very well.
Kickoff is moments away. Sick 'em Bears is the battle cry. They better be ready. TCU wants to stay on top. It's your Friday night.
I wanna set you free. I wanna get you high. I wanna be your Friday night.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by LensCrafters, AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network, and Wendy's. You know when it's real.
That was the Traditions Rally last night here at Baylor at the Fountain Mall. The 62nd year that Floyd Casey Stadium is home to the Bears. Of course, the head coach for the Bears, Art Briles, he is Texas through and through, played Southwest Conference football, was a high school coaching kingpin in Texas, then success at Houston, now his 4th year here at Baylor. He's added some coaching firepower to his staff. For more on that, we welcome Samantha Steele to the ESPN family.
Thanks, Joe. Everybody knows about this TCU offense, but what about the Baylor defense? Last season, they gave up 435 yards per game and 45 points to this very same TCU team. Do not expect to see that again tonight. They have changed everything on defense, and that starts with their defensive coordinator, Phil Bennett. While at Pitt, his defense allowed the least amount of explosive plays in the nation. They're going to need to show up in that area tonight. They'll probably use 5 DBs most of the game to try and keep everything in front of them. I talked to Coach Bennett yesterday. He said he's confident in his 11 starters, but depth will be an issue. And guys, with this heat, it's going to be an issue early.
No doubt about it, Sam.
It is hot, Sam. You better stay warm down there.
Gary Patterson's led TCU 27 wins in their last 28 games. ESPN, the magazine, had a survey of current coaches. Gary came out on top as the best coach in college football out there. Ross Evans to kick. Baylor to receive. Jones and Martin back deep. And this is Darius Jones. And Jones is taken down hard at about the 27-yard line by Travaris Battle. So our first scene of RG3, Robert Griffin III, the junior quarterback. Of course, had the season-ending knee surgery in 2009. Came back a year ago, one of 5 quarterbacks at the FBS level with over 5,500 yards passing and 1,500 rushing. And he completes his first pass of the season to Kendall Wright, the senior receiver. A closer look at that Bears offense, Rod.
Spread offense, very quick guys all around, and in the backfield, Terrence Ganaway, big back, he'll carry it a lot, and you saw the throw to Kendall Wright. He is really a fantastic player. He will be an NFL draft pick according to our Scouts Inc. and
31st start of his career. Griffin struggled against TCU last year, which was 16 of 28 for 164 yards. Sprints to the near side and complete again as Wright stepped out just short of that line to make.
Riles said that this offensive line is the best he's had at Baylor. Keep in mind, he had a first-round draft pick last season. And how about some of the sides? Big Blake in there, and Robert Griffin. Griffin, the big guy, goes at about 330 pounds.
Well, that line judge is marking it a first down. So Griffin trying to get in a rhythm early here. Inside carry to Ganaway. And Terrence Ganaway out across the 45 before he was taken down by Stanley Mapanga.
And Tess, this TCU defense, you've seen it over the years, very good. They play that nickel package, 4-2-5. Very tough, one of the best in the country. Mapanga had a great freshman season. They lost a lot of guys up front, but he's outstanding.
Griffin quick to get up to that line of scrimmage. Once again, Ganaway. And a good gainer down to the 43-yard line before Karen Kuba was able to corral him. A gain of 12 for the senior running back.
Remember, inexperienced defensive line against a veteran offensive line.
Now Griffin sends Ganaway in motion. And this is a design run. It's where he's very dangerous, but they were able to contain him at the 40-yard line. Closer look at that TCU defense.
Tess, we'll finish up that defense. And two linebackers, probably the best tandem in the country. Kane Carter, obviously great Rose Bowl. Rebuilt secondary. Greg McCoy, probably the best guy out there.
Trick play, and it is complete. Terrence Williams, touchdown Bears. To Terrence Williams, receiver to receiver. How do you do? And Jones tacks on the extra point. The sophomore Aaron Jones. What a start for Baylor. A new season and a new beginning. Terrence Williams on the receiving end.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
A year ago, TCU beat Baylor 45-10. Baylor jumps out in front this year. Rod, show us how it happened.
Well, first thing, a little slow getting the defensive call, so they weren't lined up right. You see, they're still getting the call right now. Now watch what happens here. They're thinking about covering the screen play, and then it happens in a hurry. They've been talking about it all week. Stop the screen, and look what happens there. They blow the coverage. Both guys come up. They leave receiver wide open, completely open. Williams by himself. No one over there. and a combination of problems. Late getting the call in, overplaying the screen, and a blown coverage because both corners, corner and safety, went after the screen recipient.
His second career touchdown pass. McCoy now on the return for TCU, and he finds a seam. McCoy! And just like that, the Frogs are in business. Finally chased down by Darius Jones.
Well, we've talked about TCU being a program, and one of the overlooked things is their specialty. They always play well. Good blocking at the point of attack. McCoy finds the seam. A little bit over anxious by Baylor coming down, ran out of their lanes a little bit. McCoy took advantage of it. But special teams a big part of what TCU brings to the party.
73-yard return. Casey Paul Hall, the sophomore quarterback, first start of his career. Tucker, Matthew Tucker inside the 10. So Paul Hall takes over. Randy Dalton was the second-round pick of the Bengals. We talked about a bigger arm than Dalton, faster, stronger, better size. The question, of course, leadership, decision-making, experience.
Yeah, well, remember, Dalton was a 4-year starter. He wasn't experienced right off the bat.
Here's Paul Hall, blocker in front, and Paul Hall touchdown. They were late in calling it, but he came across. Good block up front by Luke Shivers.
Yeah, well, this is the power game. They will run it typically speed option outside, get the quick guys outside, but when they want to pound you, they use Shivers, and they come right at you this time with Paul Hall, who's not a small quarterback.
Logan Brock and Luke Shivers after McCoy set it up with a big kickoff return. Good blocking up front by the fullback and tight end. And Casey Paul Hall, opening drive of his starting assignment, brings it right in.
You caught your breath?
Oh, boy. A lot of people were talking about this game as being one of those gems of the opening week. So far, living up to the hype.
I'll talk about a hot start to this ball game. They're checking to see if Paul Hall's knee was down before he crossed the plane. That ball was across the plane as his knee came down. That's got to be marked a touchdown. That's not enough to overturn that call. Remember, indisputable evidence.
After further review, previous play is confirmed.
Randy Crystal, our referee, Jack McDonald, our replay official, and a good start for the career of Casey Paul Hall. Set up by the special teams, 73-yard kickoff return. And Gary Patterson, yeah, going to be a lot of sweating tonight, but that makes him feel a little better. And that is no good. Ross Evans, first PAT attempt of the year. Doesn't get it through. 7-6, Bears on top.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Russell Athletic, who remind you that together we are. And in part by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
Rod Baylor has live bears down here in Waco. That's Joy, 330 pounds of joy. The older biological sister of Lady, who's also on campus, who only checks in at 285.
A 300-pound bear named Joy. I don't find that joyous.
Well, there's a guy that TCU fans are filled with joy over. The 216-pound Casey Paul Hall, who just had the 9-yard touchdown run to make the score 7-6. Evans' PAT was blocked by Nicholas Jean-Baptiste. 14th time now in the career of Evans that he's been unsuccessful on a PAT. And here is Darius Jones. A little slow to get going as a flag comes in at the 8-yard line.
the return. Number 5, half the distance to the goal, first down.
It's Antoine Goodley for Baylor. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines. Oregon LSU. It's the Cowboys Classic. Part of Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week Saturday at 8 on ABC.
Did you happen to see what Darren Thomas said in that ball game about
bigger than the national championship game?
You kidding me?
That was his quote.
Well, and more. He said if they lose to LSU, Oregon's season is done. I can't believe that.
No, it is a huge game. It's the beauty of college football. One of the biggest games in years, opening week. Now the inside feed here as Ganaway able to gain a few.
Now that opening drive, Baylor was perfectly balanced. 3 runs, 3 passes, trick play, got him a touchdown, kept TCU's defense off balance.
3 receivers stacked as Griffin takes it on his own to the 10-yard line. Line to make is the 14. As RG3. Such an impressive guy. Coaches say that he's more mature. He just has more presence about him as a quarterback now. Not just an athlete, but as a quarterback.
Oh, he sounded like a quarterback when we talked to him yesterday. Big, strong voice, looked you in the eye, firm handshake, totally in command of what he was doing with his teammates yesterday. Very clear. He's the quarterback. He's the leader.
3rd and 4 here. 3 receivers to the far side for Griff. He's pressured, stays on his feet, airs it up, and that's going to sail out of bounds. Pressure came from Braylon Broughton, as well as Tank Carter, who was the defensive MVP of last year's Rose Bowl. And that's the TCU defense we're used to seeing.
Well, Patterson is not afraid to dial up the pressure. Broughton got in there first. Here comes Carter at the end of it, but Griffin is so athletic, he can buy time. He slipped Broughton and was able to buy a little time.
So as Carter and company head off to the TCU bench, Spencer Roth is on the punt for Baylor and Sky Dawson at midfield for TCU. And this is going to bounce out at about the 47-yard line. That TCU offense, when it comes to the guys behind Casey Paul Hall, well, veteran running back in Ed Wesley.
Yeah, and then I think about Hicks, a guy who was really great a couple years ago, injured most of last year. He's a veteran receiver that can help them. That offensive line, bunch of new starters up front, but they looked good on that opening short drive they had for that touchdown.
Yeah, they powered their way in there with Paul Hall running the ball in from 9 yards out.
First down with the 47.
Paul Hall to pass, and he gets it to Boyce, and Josh Boyce is still on his feet struggling. They'll give him the forward progress, but Chance Casey was wrestling with him. How about that Baylor front 4?
Well, they switched things up a bit. You know, they're playing a nickel package now, 5 defensive back, 4 down linemen, and you know, I think about guy Gary Thomas. You know, Gary Mason up front is a guy that they call the shadow because he's such a big, tall guy. They want him to play as big as his shadow. Linebackers, Elliott Coffey making his first start inside. They moved him from the outside linebacking spot, so he's got a lot of calls to make back there.
There is Coffey, the senior, the top returning tackler. Play action now. Paul Hall with time and with Boyce. Did he hold on to it? No. Incomplete. It'll make for a 3rd and 8.
Now you keep in mind, inexperienced quarterback, inexperienced offensive line. They're doing things to help him out. You know, get him outside the pocket. He's comfortable. He's athletic. And didn't get a little help there from Boyce, who just lost that one there after he had it, started going down. But Boyce is a guy that can make plays. He can be a big-time receiver. One drop like that isn't going to bother him. They'll keep going back to him, and he's a guy that can really have an impact on a game.
Freshman All-American a year ago. 3rd and 8. Ball was tipped and off the hands of Boyce. So the good field position for TCU after the defense did the job. Now the Baylor defense responds. Anson Kelton.
Is that not the biggest punter you've ever
6'4",
seen?
280 pounds. Baylor doesn't have a single starter on the defensive line who weighs more than Anson Kelton. And the fair catch is brought in at the 20. Hot night and hot action. Baylor up 7-6. Baylor up a point on number 14 TCU. Rod, here's what they're trying to build on. They got a bowl invite last year, ending a 16-year drought. They created some positive momentum, but then sagged off the last 4 games.
Yeah, but they got to their first bowl game. And the other thing is Art Browse is building. You notice that he's not only doing a great job recruiting high school guys, he's getting good transfers in here as well at Baylor.
Talk about some of those guys as the night progresses. Ganaway out of the backfield. And as Griffin a little high that time as he was trying to get it to Tevin Reese, who had 45 receptions a year ago as a freshman.
You know, Tess, this offense is unique in that it is a spread option offense, but the option part is often a pass incorporated with a run. So they can actually go to throwing the football down the field while running an option play.
So instead of that pitch being the third part of the option, you're saying him putting it downfield.
Yeah,
becomes
exactly.
the third tier there. Ganaway going to test that near side and nothing doing as Takaren Kuba came up from that weak safety spot to get Ganaway.
And Ganaway is important to this offense because all that option stuff, the screen passes, that's just to get the defense going wide. And you have to pound them back inside, and Ganaway is big enough to do that.
3rd and 10 now for Griff.
Got a false start.
False start. Offense. Number 79. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Now that's the other Robert Griffin. That's Robert T. Griffin, the right guard.
No relation.
RG3 is the quarterback. They jokingly call the right guard RG2. By the way, he has him by 115 pounds.
Yeah.
He goes 335.
Yeah, that would be RG4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now backed up to a 3rd and 15 after the false start. Griffin trying to shake loose and nowhere to go at all. Braylon Broughton, DJ Yendry, and Stanley Mapanga meeting up with Robert Griffin III.
Well, when Gary Patterson can get you in predictable situations, you're going to feel the heat. And 3rd and 15 is pretty predictable. They run a stunt here. Mapanga comes on a twist from the outside to the inside, beats his man. He's got great speed, great athlete, Mapanga, to make that sack.
Spencer Ross, a true freshman from Knoxville, back on to punt. Sky Dawson from just over midfield, and that's a good special teams tackle that time by Darius Jones. Sky Dawson unable to shake loose. Of course, a year ago, the magic happened for TCU. 13-0, all the glory out in Pasadena. Number 2 in the final rankings.
You know, going into the year, folks called Andy Dalton a late-round draft pick, maybe even a free agent. He played his way into a second-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals and will be their starter opening weekend.
You can see a lot of folks made that 87-mile trip down to see their team have their opener this year. Raymond James with a good hard run to the edge.
You know, Tess, TCU has 3 or 4 really good running backs. That is the strength of their offense. James is one of them. Wesley is another. We'll see. They'll just keep rotating them in, and they look alike.
They do.
They're about, what, 200 pounds and 5'9"?
A lot of guys that are about 5'9", 200. A lot of bowling balls in the backfield at TCU.
Good tackle.
And here's Matthew Tucker. And now Sky Dawson coming around, and a good block in front for Dawson to pick up the first down before Elliott Coffey finally got to him. That was Matthew Tucker, the running back we were just discussing, getting out in front for the speedy receiver.
Yeah, they want to use that as a change-up. Dawson is incredibly quick and fast, and that works. Track champ in 60 meters.
And he's 6.69.
Crazy. You get him going to the outside, then you have those big running backs to run back inside with.
Out of the gun, delayed. Looked like he wanted to hand it off. He kept it himself, and he was wrapped up by Elliott Coffey. We were showing you Sky Dawson's accomplishments in track. Here's what he looks like out there. 2010 Mountain West Conference Indoor Championships in the 60-meter. This ends up being the 3rd fastest time in Mountain West Conference history. That's 6.69.
But what that means is you have to respect that speed when he's on the field, so he's going to get a lot of room and draw some attention.
2nd and 12 for Paul Hall. Pressure up the middle. He launches it up. Boyce is underneath it, and Boyce is tripped up inside the 10, all the way down to the 40-yard line. Mike Hicks got just a piece of Josh Boyce.
And Boyce was able to get there because of the great clear-out run by Dawson. Look at the pressure inside by Jean-Baptiste, but Paul Hall hangs in there to get the ball to Boyce. But Boyce got open because Sky Dawson was able to draw some attention as he ran a post and cleared it out for Boyce to get free behind him.
And see that there is a Baylor defender down at the end of that play as the medical staff tends to him. So a good start to the night for Casey Paul Hall. Had the rushing touchdown, and now a big completion to put TCU in scoring position again. Cornerback Tyler Stevenson down on the field, and we'll take a break. Tyler Stevenson made his way off the field, was able to walk off the field, the cornerback for Baylor. Baylor up a point, but TCU, with that big strike to Josh Boyce, is in good position here just inside the 5-yard line. Here's Tucker to the edge. Touchdown, Frogs. 16 career touchdowns now in 27 career games for Matthew Tucker.
And that is the 3rd TCU running back we've seen handle the ball in a big situation for them tonight. Tucker also over 200 pounds. He's the biggest at 6'1", 218.
They are loaded in the backfield. Evans this time gets it high enough. Remember, first PAT of the night was blocked.
They do a really nice job of packing them inside with that full house formation, and they get Baylor focused inside, and they get a little bit of leverage when they pull the blockers out in front. It's really easy for Tucker to get to the edge as they just kind of seduced all of the Baylor linebackers and safeties to stay inside with that full house backfill set, and then got the leverage on them by pulling a guard around to seal everybody inside.
Boyce had that 38-yard reception. Set up Matthew Tucker with the 4-yard touchdown run. Saw Tyler Stevenson go down at the end of that play. and Josh Boyce hauled in. Baylor, of course, talked about it all week, Rod, and prepping for this game. A little thin in that defensive backfield to begin with.
Yeah, they can't afford to lose much. You see Phil Bennett there working with his guys.
Glasgow Martin. And Martin is hit hard at the 20. Sam, what can you tell us about Stevenson?
Yeah, you guys saw him come off. He's in excruciating pain. It's that left ankle. I haven't gotten anything confirmed yet, but it looks terrible right now. He has teammates, one of his teammates almost kind of sitting on his lap trying to console him. They're rubbing his head right now. Guys, he's having a hard time. Here's the worst part about it. His backup, KJ Morton, is out. They are already very thin in the secondary, but especially at corner. That's a huge blow for this Baylor defense.
KJ Morton, a JUCO transfer who was injured. They've gone so far in that defensive backfield, Rod, as they brought in a transfer, a basketball player from Gonzaga who they said could hit the field. We'll see if that happens here tonight. And that quick toss, almost a lateral, as Tevin Reese was unable to corral it.
Yeah, it just seems like after that opening drive and in the bad field position that somehow Baylor kind of lost their focus a little bit. TCU came right back and a couple mistakes, and now they're sort of fighting themselves. A couple mistakes, penalties, dropping balls.
Yeah, last two drives, 6 plays, a yard, and 2 punts. First drive, 6 plays, 72 yards, a touchdown. There's Ganaway, and he's able to get about 3 yards as Chris Gardner, the backup middle linebacker, was able to find Ganaway. Well, put him in another 3rd and long now for Griffin.
Yeah, and if you can't get your linemen on those linebackers, they're going to make plays all day. And right now, you're in a situation where Gary Patterson can dial it up and come after you.
Griffin lofts it, and he's got it. Complete to Kendall Wright, a first down for Baylor to the TCU 45. Jason Verrett was on the coverage of the senior Kendall Wright.
Well, yeah, and he beat him. You know, man coverage, a little bit of pressure inside, and he just beat Verrett to the outside.
And a quick snap, Ganaway fights his way close to the 41-yard line as Cuba came in to make the tackle on the senior running back. You know, a 32-yard connection to Kendall Wright to get them out of that hole, Rod.
Yeah, there will be mistakes. You've got a lot of new guys starting for the first time for TCU on that defense.
A lot of new faces for both teams.
You know, we've not seen Griffin really get to the edge yet on anything designed for him. It's all been inside so far.
Time for Ganaway, and RG3 just put it right in that pocket.
Well, the game plan is simple, really. You know, Ganaway is 240 pounds. They want to use him inside, and they want to use Griffin's speed and the screen passes to the outside to make that defense move around and be a little soft inside.
Flag came in there. Looks like it's a false start. Terrence Ganaway.
False start. Offense, number 16. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Baylor running back played at Houston as a freshman under Coach Briles. His mom passed away of cancer when he was at Houston. He was one of 11 children. Sat out for a year after her death. Then came back, and instead of going to Houston, he followed Coach here to Baylor.
Behind Jay Finley last season. Worked incredibly hard this offseason. Was not expected to be the starter, but just worked so hard he got the spot. And his size really helps that offense.
Finley, of course, was drafted by the Bengals. Such a productive back here at Baylor. And we get a glimpse of Robert Griffin III's ability to sneak through the middle of that defense. Sam Carter and Ross Forrest on the tackle of RG3. 2nd and 10, and Jared Salubi comes in to see his first action. Play action. He's going downfield for it all. Touchdown, Baylor! Kendall Wright. He's thrown one, and now he hauls one in. Got a flag at the end of that touchdown, but it came in after Wright was already celebrating in the end zone. Let's see what the call is. Big plays for Baylor tonight.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 1. TCU has elected the option to enforce a 15-yard penalty on the ensuing kickoff. The touchdown's good. Try for point.
Now, Tess, you know we have a new rule this year. Unsportsmanlike conduct, if you're going into the end zone before you score, will take off the touchdown. This one occurred after the score, after the touchdown, a little celebration, unsportsmanlike, and they flagged him for that.
And with that extra point, Baylor goes back out in front of 14th ranked TCU.
Hey, Tess, nothing fancy here. Simple man coverage on the outside, and Wright simply beats Verrett to the outside, gets a free release, beats him into the end zone. Now, at the end of this, here's where he gets flagged because he draws attention to himself with a little bit of this. Watch what he shows you. Not the shake, that one right there. Across the neck, across the upper body, can't do it, will be flagged. And fortunately for him, it was a dead ball foul, so it doesn't take the points off the scoreboard.
Impressive opening quarter for Kendall Wright. He had a 40-yard touchdown pass to Terrence Williams on the opening drive, and here with the 35-yard touchdown reception.
How do you feel about that new rule? It hasn't gone into effect in this game because that was a dead ball foul, not a live ball.
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
I feel that you and I spent an hour and a half in a seminar debating it with Rogers Reddings, the head of officials for college football. And I think we could debate for another month.
We're going to see it. It's going to happen. If not this weekend, real soon, somebody is going to make a mistake and draw attention, celebrate going into the end zone, or a teammate will, and the touchdown will not count.
By the way, Rogers is here tonight at this Friday night game. But as we said, dead ball, the 15 yards, march back here for the kickoff. If that happens in the field of play, it's a spot foul. Excessive celebration, taunting the unsportsmanlike. Then Parks to kick. And here is McCoy. Remember, he had a 73-yard return last time, and here he goes again. Good block out in front. Oh, boy, McCoy inside the 25.
McCoy is having a night, but not without some help. He's getting some great blocking by his special team teammates. I mean, he gets a big hole and then gets a great block from Stephen Bryant. And then another clear out, reads it perfectly well behind Bryant to get to the edge. A couple of great blocks in there to give him a huge lane, and TCU is in business inside the 25.
68-yard return. Back and forth these teams go. James now. And he slips. Tries to stay on his feet, but he'll be marked down at the 21-yard line.
You know, Tess, last season, Andy Dalton was the quarterback. This area of the field, the scoring zone, once you get inside that 30-yard line, around that 30 scoring zone, they trusted Andy Dalton to take shots if he wanted to. I mean, they felt really good about him making plays, taking gambles. Maybe not so with Casey Paulhall. They open up running. Do they let him throw it, or do they keep it on the ground here?
Paulhall. He's going to go to the end zone. And that is batted away Good defensive play by Chance Casey.
And that was almost picked off. Casey did a great job. He turned his head, found the ball, played the ball at the highest point. This is textbook cornerback play. He finds it, and he gets up high. That is a great, great play.
It's been a long time since Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco's been this loud. They are loving it.
Well, here again, 3rd and 10. How much do you trust your quarterback? I mean, you're at the edge where you can try a field goal.
This is where Dalton was at his best.
Exactly.
Now we find out about the sophomore as the play clock runs down. And a timeout is called by TCU.
Timeout. TCU. This will be a 30-second team timeout.
Let's go to the studio and check in with Ryan Burr. Ryan.
All right, Joe T, let's get a studio update now. Youngstown State and Michigan State. Larry Capers gave the Spartans a 7-0 lead, but back comes Youngstown State. Yelani Barosa, but they missed the extra point. So 7-6 Michigan State. The Spartans are first and goal. We'll keep you updated. Joe and Rod.
14-13. Baylor up with a missed extra point, the blocked extra point earlier, and they're looking for their defense to sick them. That is the hand signal here in Waco. TCU has such great average field position starting their drives at the Baylor 36, and they're trying to take advantage once again, now facing a 3rd and 10 as the new D-court, Phil Bennett, looks to rally the troops, and the crowd did their job.
Inexperienced offensive line, loud crowd, new quarterback.
False start. Offense. Everyone but the center. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's a classic. Randy Crystal, the referee, false start. Everybody but the center. All you guys.
That's almost as good as he's got the quarterback down, giving him the business.
That is a classic. 3rd and 15 for Paul Hall. And that is incomplete. It would have been short of the line to make. He was looking for Josh Boyce. And Brody Trahan, the former quarterback, on coverage as he's been moved over to linebacker. The pressure came from Jared Edwards.
Yeah, Baylor rising up, playing a little defense, predictable situation here. Pressure coming from Edwards. 92, Jared Edwards getting in there, but that was a predictable passing situation, and Baylor came after him. They're on the edge here. It's a pretty deep field goal for them.
Ross Evans, 11 of 13 last year with a long of 43. This from 44. And he puts it through. So TCU retakes the lead. For tonight's Real Deal, brought to you by Wendy's. We take a look at Robert Griffin III and all the accolades and the great resume that he's been building, Rob.
Yeah, I keep telling you, track man, but he is a quarterback. No mistake about it. Look at that, almost 65% completion percentage. And he's not afraid to stand in the pocket and deliver the football.
You can vote for the Real Deal at ESPN.com on your mobile phone. Oh, look who's sitting there on the sideline. Number 9.
Yeah.
That is Lake Seastrunk. Or Seastrunk, at the center of a lot of the controversy up at Oregon this offseason. One of the top recruits in the country a year and a half ago, who has now transferred here to Baylor.
And he may be eligible to play at some point this season.
Well, Evans just made the field goal, and now he kicks off. And at the 5-yard line, this is Salubi. And Jared Salubi is taken down at the 28. So Lake Seastrunk, who grew up about 35 miles away in Temple, Texas, was a big-time recruit who made his way out to Oregon. And then you know all the controversy of the NCAA requesting information surrounding Willie Lyles, and Seastruck's name attached to a lot of that. Medical issues in his family, so transferred back home, looking for a fresh start, be close to the family, and looking for a special waiver by the NCAA, which would make him immediately eligible this season. And just a 2-yard gain that time by Ganaway.
You know, Art Browse told us yesterday when we asked about the transfer, he said, you know why? His last name is Texas.
Yeah, you're from Texas. You have a tendency to come back home. There's been a few of those on Baylor. Jordan Niver, number 18, the tight end, was out at Stanford as a big recruit. He was a Texan who decided Palo Alto wasn't for him. Came back to the Bears. Here's Griff again. And a good swing downfield, crossing midfield to Terrence Williams. So Robert Griffin III is finding his rhythm with the passing game.
And he's finding the man coverage, the single coverage. I love this, what he does here. He threw the ball very nicely, but it was the cerebral part, the fact that he looked down the field and found the weakness and came back to it.
Ganaway, RG3 thought that he was to the left, but Ganaway came to the right for that handoff that time, as he was taken down by Carter. But they crossed midfield again, just under a minute to go in what has been an action-packed first quarter.
When's the last time you've seen a TCU defense on its heels a bit?
Listen, some changes, especially in that backfield and that defensive end, and this is a much more confident Baylor team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. 2nd and 8 now, and once again, Wright, and Kendall Wright gets free. Jason Verrett finally able to force him out.
Look, let's not sleep on Kendall Wright. I mean, it's not like he's not a good football player. And this guy is quick, about a 4.4 guy. He's very likely to be a 4th-round pick, 3rd-round pick, you know, depending on how this season goes. But he's a guy that is on the radar of the NFL scouts.
If he maintains this level, he's going to break every school record for receiving here at Baylor. So a first down inside the 40-yard line. And away in the backfield with Griffin. Anaway just a gain of 2 that time as Chris Gardner was able to find him. How about that for a start to the Friday night primetime schedule? Back and forth they went. TCU up 16-14. A highlight-filled opening chapter